Are we rolling? We live? I think so. If so, welcome guys. Welcome back to another live stream. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day as we're going to sit here and talk about daylight savings out here in Mexico. As you guys know, for many of you guys just changed daylight savings time not too long ago. And so in this episode, we're going to be talking about how it works out here in Mexico, because I've been living here for about 5 years, and in the 5 years that I've been living here, I've had to change the time zone the same amount of time, at the same time as everyone else, as when I used to live in the USA. But starting this year, no more time change, and so we're going to talk about that. In fact, today's episode is sponsored by Cindy. Thank you. Shout out to Cindy for, asking this question. Okay. And what is the question? Well, what are the time zones in Mexico? Now that there is no more daylight savings, how does it work? What's going on with that? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I see a few of you guys in the chat already. Shout out to Hightown. Says, nice photo. Where is it from? Oh, just Google. I just got it from Google. Okay. All right. Let me see. And then we got some other questions in the chat. And again, as you guys already know, if you guys want to ask me any questions, all right, it's very easy. Just go to my website or click on the link in the chat, in the description of this video, in the comment section, whatever. Go to my website and it'll tell you exactly what you need to do in order for you to sign up, in order to ask a question. So let's get into it. Let's get into the time zones, all right, of Mexico. All right, I got let me see. There we go. All right. So let me see. Just setting up here. Okay, let's go. So as you guys can see there, we're going to be talking about the time zone. Now, let's just kind of skip all the way down here to the important part, okay? So, the time zone, there's no more time change. There's no more time zone change, okay? So, now the time zone for Mexico would be mountain time for the USA. So, we know that in the USA, we have 4 different time zones, okay? We got East Coast, Eastern time zone. We got Central time zone, we got Mountain time zone, and then we got Pacific, right? Pacific time zone. So now Mexico, okay, all of Mexico is going to always be in, you know what? Actually, you know what? It's going to change. I completely forgot. Depends. Hold on.
Bruh.
It's all going to depend on the U.S., okay? So basically, Mexico's is not changing its time zone back and forth anymore, but the U.S. does. So when the U.S. does, then it's going to affect time in Mexico. Okay, there we go. That's what I meant to say. So how's that going to work? So up until a couple weeks ago, or whatever, spring forward happened. Before that, when we were in the winter, and we were still in the old time zone, I was in Central time zone. But as soon as the USA went into spring forward, as soon as that happened, now it knocked Mexico back into mountain time. So right now, I am in mountain time. Okay, right now it is 1:36 p.m. where I am at. Okay, Central time zone would be 2:36 p.m. and Eastern time zone would be 3:36 p.m. Okay, so now everyone in Mexico, everyone in the yellow. Okay, so that's another thing too. Not all of Mexico is going to be changing over. So anyone that's in the yellow, as you guys can see there, basically the whole country, 90% of the country there, all of that is no more daylight savings, meaning that we do not have to change our clocks forward or backwards ever again. Which, by the way, it's pretty nice because now we've experienced this already. The last time that we changed the time, I think, was in October, and then when spring came along, we didn't change time and I didn't feel any different. It actually felt better. You know what I mean? It just felt, because usually when you have that time change, it just feels weird and awkward. And, everything that goes with a time change, well, we don't have that anymore. And it just feels natural. In fact, the way it should be. And I'm looking forward till later on in the year when we don't have to change the time again. So as a person that's living in Mexico, it's great. The few things that suck about it is the time zone thing. Now I'm closer to Pacific time zone, all right, because I'm in mountain zone now, mountain time zone, as opposed to I used to be just an hour away from Eastern, time zone. It's a big difference. If you've ever lived on the East and West Coast, I was, born and raised on the East Coast, so my mind is always on East Coast time. The world, the USA runs on East Coast time. So the further you get away from that, so basically Pacific time, you're very disconnected, in many ways, from the rest of the country, in a weird way. So now it's like I feel that way too. I feel like now as the time zone has changed, again, it's not that big a difference. You know what I mean? Like if I need to make a phone call to my family back home, it's 2 hours difference. It's not 10 hours difference. Like if I was in the Philippines or Thailand or whatever, it's just a 2 hour difference. It's not a big deal. But yeah, it is a big difference in many aspects in the sense that like now, again, the USA is 2 hours and Canada is 2 hours forward and Mexico's 2 hours backwards. But, again, living in Mexico, that feels about right as well. As they always say about Mexican time, everything takes longer. You always got to be late, yada, yada, yada. Now, let's talk about the time difference change, in the green. And now, as you guys can see on the map there, the sections in the green, okay, which are basically everything on the border, Baja California, okay, northern Baja, not southern, just northern Baja California, and most of the places on the border where there's a lot of the population, a lot of trucking, a lot of, moving of, what is it like, not just transport, but trade. There's a lot of trade and movement involved on the border. They are actually going to keep the time zone change. So they are going to, sorry, there's a noise out there. They are gonna, what's the word I'm looking for? They are gonna continue with the time change. So when the USA goes to spring forward or fall backwards, whenever they change their time zone, they will also change the time zone in the green. So they will also continue to, what's the word I'm looking for? Anyways. They're going to continue the practice, okay, of daylight savings time for the time being. Now, when the U.S., you always hear talks in the USA that they are going to get rid of daylight savings time, which I think they should. Again, they've already gotten rid of daylight savings time here, and it's only been a short period of time, and it's awesome. It's a big difference. I love it. Like I said, I mainly, now that the time change, now that the Mexico has gone back another hour, so now we're 2 hours behind New York, it actually feels nicer, It feels, more kind of disconnected from the USA in a weird way. But, other than that, the daylight savings, like I said, is only going to be, daylight savings time is only going to be, still being used in places like, Baja, Sonora, and then border cities or border areas like Ciudad Juárez, Oaxaca, Chihuahua, Colombia, Nuevo León, Reynosa, Tamaulipas. I don't know. I can't. Sorry. My Spanish not so bueno.
Bruh.
Doofuses. They're continuing being doofuses. No, I forgot what that's not the word I'm looking for. As soon as I'm done with the broadcast, the word's gonna pop in my brain. Sorry, I apologize. I think I just need more coffee. In fact, while I drink my coffee, I will show you guys, okay, the list, okay? In fact, I'm gonna provide, okay, yeah, there you go, there. So you guys can see. No DTS means no daylight saving. So you see, it's only like a few places. So that's good. But yeah, so we're gonna see how this all plays out as it all goes moves along. So it says time zones 3, so 1 hour back. But there's no time change. That's kind of like inaccurate there. So now let me talk about, okay, so the other thing that we're supposed to talk about real quick here. Okay, do we got that there? Okay. So the other thing I was supposed to talk about was, again, how does it feel? What's a big difference, and no daylight savings time, no having to change the clock. Well, like I've said, it's awesome. It's great. The fact that I didn't have to change the clock, the fact that you don't have that hangover, that you have every time that you got to change the clock where you're moving, whether you're moving it forward or backwards. No more of that. It just felt great. It felt natural. It just like I guess what I was trying to say is like it felt bad. I felt bad for the fact that the people in the U.S. still have to change it backwards and forward, and the fact that it's basically useless. There's no real point to us having daylight savings time anymore. As most of us already know, the reason that we had daylight savings time was in order to maximize the amount of daylight that we could have during farming season or something. Harvest season. I don't know. It had to do with farming. All right. Back in those days. Bruh. So, and even then, Mexico's a big agricultural country where they still grow a lot of things here. And it's still like a non-issue here. Again, they stopped, acknowledging, daylight savings. All right. So that's what I meant. I think that was acknowledging. I think that was the word I was looking for earlier, but like another version of that. I need to thesaurus it up. But anyways, as I was saying, so in the green areas, they're still going to acknowledge, all right, daylight savings time, and they're going to still hold true to that as the U.S. will. Again, mostly for trade. That's basically the reason, mostly for trade. And then when it comes to the yellow, which is all of Mexico, again, 90% of Mexico, they are not going to be acknowledging daylight savings time anymore ever again. Okay. So I think that that answers the question, and hopefully it clears up any confusion. At the very least, if you have any doubts as to what time it's going to be in Mexico when you travel to Mexico, please just go to this website right here. As you guys can see, it says timeanddate.com. All right. Just go to timeanddate.com. It's a pretty awesome website, and you can find out what the time is immediately, quickly. All right, without any hesitation, accurately. All right, so I would highly suggest you check that out. And whenever you do any traveling, because again, if you're coming from New York and you're coming to Mexico City, that's a 2-hour difference. So you got to make sure you know that, as opposed to a 1 hour difference before, or no hour difference. So. Yeah, because, things used to be a little weird with that, before that. So now things, I feel like they're easier to deal with. Because even when daylight savings was acknowledged before, it used to change at a different time than in the U.S. So, this is actually a million times easier as someone living in Mexico and, dealing with the U.S. on a daily basis. So, with that being said, I think that we're done with this video. We're done with this topic. We're going to move on to the next topic. So again, for anyone out there that wants me to talk about any subject or answer any question in video format, in live format, where you guys can, hang out with me together and, again, I'm not only answering the question for you, but answering the question for the greater audience so that everyone out there can benefit from this. So if you want to know more information on that, you just go to my website, click on personalized consultations, and it's going to lead you right to here where I'm going to explain to you how it works. And if you don't want to listen to me anymore, that's totally fine. You can read, okay, and it'll explain everything. And here are the questions previously answered. So, all right. So with all that being said, thanks again for watching. Really enjoy these videos. I hope you guys enjoy them as well. I will see you guys in a few more minutes, all right? Like around 5 minutes and 10 minutes. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, well, in a few minutes, a few minutes, all right? And where we're going to be answering another question. Gizmo, can't wait. All right. See you guys soon.